Okay, now I'm going to try to show you how to take some of the material off that we need to. I want to try to maintain that line, but I got to get this excess off. Remember, we did transfer, and where the head comes in and meets the body right here, we want to clean all this out, but we do not want to take the foot out. So we want to take all this material down, okay? And you're really just trying to slice this piece off, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to be using the Fordham, and I'm going to dial up the speed. I hope I'm not making too much noise that you can't hear me. I'm going to come in, and I'm going to take this down just like this. Now, just to let you know, I am wearing a dust mask because you are going to create some dust, and it would be good to have a dust collector, or if you're doing this in an area where you're not concerned about dust getting around. I have a dust collection system below me here, as well as I wear a mask as well, too, just so that you don't breathe all this in. So you can see what I did here. I smoothed all this out, so that slice is off right there, but I didn't go down into the foot itself. I stopped short of it, and I didn't go into the head where I'm trying to take a lot off. So that is the first thing you want to do. Now, the second thing is we have these feet out front here. I want to try to hollow that out up to here. So I'm going to demo that to you as well here. I'm going to lay this bit right in here. And this is just initially to get going. I'm opening that up right between them, just like that. And I'm going to get it flush with the belly that's going up, or I should say the neck area. And make a nice transition through there, and it opens up. See how that is? Okay. So now I'm going to start cutting in along this line right here. This is the hind quarter. I'm going to come in, and I don't want to go past this mark as far as depth, and at the same time I'm going to follow this line. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm taking things down right through here. And I'm also looking at how much I'm taking off up here. So I have a ways to go. And you can see I'm getting a step in there. And this is my limit. So I got to watch when I go down how far I go. And I'm going to come right around this hind quarter like this. And again, I have a limit of a ½ inch out, so I got to take this down to that ½ inch. See, I'm starting to get there now. And I'm starting to get to this. See where I'm starting to cut down to that line? And then I'm going to take this all off right along here. following that whole line. That is my stop. I'm using that hind quarter line to follow as I go around. And I'm also trying to make sure I don't go any further than the depth of that line on top that I created. Okay? And when I look down, if I do it properly, I have this straight on down, and the hind quarter line right there is my stop, so I don't go any further down. Okay. And you gotta, I sort of kick this bit up a little bit so I don't go into this area here. So I'm coming around here, and I'm not going to come down into here because it's just too big of a bit to get in there, so I'll just do that and stop for the moment. Now, let me stop my machine, dust this off a little bit. Now, I created that cutout right there where I took that down, and you can see now if I put a pencil line in there, we have a wall down below, and this is how we developed that hind quarter, okay? And it's sort of popping out. Now, this portion from the top of the body, or the tail that comes into the body, has to be rolled. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we'll start shaping the tail to get that rounded over. So here we go again. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to run that bit back and forth, and I'm rolling that corner. I'm trying to just take a chamfer of about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm sort of looking at this tail. The width and the middle is what I'm trying to get to. So I don't want to make this any thinner. I want to stop when I hit that line, and yet I want to get it rolling around. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to come this way with it too, because I can control it a little better. So I'm rolling that down to that pencil line and up here. And I want to make a nice smooth transition so everything is rolling. And we have somewhat of a roll. We still have some edges in here. And what I mean by edges, if I get my pencil and if I run it in there, you'll still have squareness in there. So I'm going to come in with the bit and just round it over some more. Notice I'm just stopping right here in that middle area and get it nicely rounded off. Now, I'm going to go for the bottom of the tail just from here down. I'm rounding this over from what would be that center line of the tail coming up, and I'm rolling that right up to what would be the middle of the tail. We had this other line as a reference right here, and I'm rounding that over. Okay, and we get that out. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come around here. I'm going to undercut right behind the line, leaving the line in place. And we got this little kicker here. We don't want to go down into the foot. Remember that. You want to leave that. So I'm going to come over here and clean that out like that. And make a nice transition all. And I'm taking this down to that line. That is my stop. That line we developed on the top of the otter. And then I'm going to come in. And I'm taking that down to that line. We're getting close there. I'm going to take it up a little bit further, right up to there. I'm starting to meet the line right there. Now let me stop here and show you again. Here's the line of action that we were worrying about at the top. It's right here, and it's right here, coming down into the tail area here. Okay, and the tail is right here. So we even have the hind quarter here, which was coming around, that we tried to maintain as well. So we're got this whole run right here that we're trying to accomplish. So we are taking that line of action right there back to this line. So I'm trying to reduce it in on the side here till we hit that line. And what happens is, just like on this side, you can see that hind quarter popping out. We're going to try to do the same thing on here. So I need to take a little bit more out on this side. So here we go. Now we're getting pretty close to what I'm want to achieve. So now I have almost the exact same area that I did on the other side, on this side, and I come back and it goes right on through there. And this is the same way on this side, as you can see it. Okay, now what we want to do, and I'm going to enhance my line again so I know it gets pretty dusty here. Bear with me 1 second. Just want to get something here. Should have had my rusty, trusty brush here, and we'll brush that off. And you can see we do create a lot of dust here. So it's usually, this is the worst of it. We tend to create a lot of dust at this point, and then it gets to be minimal after that. But we want to come back and put this center line that goes all the way up to here. All the way down to here. And we do have that outline we got to get to here because that had more material sticking out when it got cut out. So what I'm going to do, see how we rounded this over here? We're going to round this down to here. So here we go. I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to come in here And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get like a 45-degree chamfer that goes from here to here, about 1/8 of an inch on each side, and we're going to clean that down. So you do this on like on a 45-degree angle to start, okay, and then we roll it down towards the hind quarter and towards the center line at the top. And we try to get that looking symmetrical on both sides so that we don't have any hard edges. And if you run your bit into the center a little bit, that's not a problem. You just want to try to maintain that center line along the way. Now, I'm going to come down into the tail. It's not quite 1/8 of an inch down there, but I'm rounding that over. Now, I'm going to go to the bottom of the tail and do the same thing that I did on this side, So, I'm going to come in here. Here's the center line. Let me get that in so you can see it again. Heavy. Right there. And I round it up to the center line. Roll it to what would be like the middle here. You sort of have an imaginary middle of the tail, which would be the width, similar both on top and bottom from the center line. And you roll that. And the tail comes somewhat to a point. It's like a blunt end. It's not a perfect pointy tail. It isn't. It's sort of blunted. So we round that over to get that portion the same. So now what we have is we have the center line coming all the way down here, all the way down to here. And if we flip it on the other side, we have that center line coming right on down. And we come right back here. So the tail is starting to shape. Now, what I noticed is I have some edges or flats. I never did round the very end here. And you want to start getting this looking symmetrical and get the flats out. Some of the flats are right in here. It goes from here almost to the center flat. So I'm going to run the machine a little bit more to get that over. And that's things you think you've got when you originally get going, but then you come back and correct it. And I'll even come along the center line and roll that around too, just slightly. And that will get the tail pretty much in shape for the basic setup we have here. Okay, so we have our tail still established. Here's the middle of it, coming back to there. Okay, and I still have edges here, but I'm not going to concern myself too much right now. We'll do that with finishing bits that will get us to get this thing in better shape than what it is right now. So what I'm also going to do is I don't want to go into the head at all. So if I come back and measure about 1 inch back from the head, or 1 1/4 inches, we'll say, right in this area here, I really don't want to attack this head. So I'm just going to put like some line work here just to remind me not to go into the head yet. So I just throw this about from the tip back, about 1 1/4 inches. Keep that off. Excuse me 1 sec. Sorry about that. Now, what I'm going to try to do is come in and finish some of this other cuts that come along here. And I can't do it with the Fordham. I could if I changed the collet, but what I'm going to go to is my ram carvers and do some more where I can come in and get in tight here. And I'm going to use a handpiece like this. I'm going to use the another cut saw. It's actually a Typhoon burr, and it's tungsten carbide. And what I do is I have it at full speed at 45,000 RPMs. And what I'm going to do is start undercutting all around. Let me stop this a second. I'm going to mark this out so you can see it. I'm going to undercut all of this in here and in here. I'm going to come around, and we're going to get these hindquarters out more from the underneath side here. And then I'm going to show you how we'll round it over too. And I'm going to use the smaller bit here now. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get this bit just to lay right in here. And I'm going to have it follow that line. So I undercut that line. I'm going to come between the 2 feet back here and take that down almost to the tail. Just like that. And I'm going to undercut this. So I'm going to go down about, a good 1/8 of an inch down through there. So it starts opening up where the legs are at by themselves, okay? And then I'm coming around here to the hindquarter. And what we had said before, you're wondering how far in would you go? Now, remember when we started this, we took a measurement from the center line. We had a 1/2 inch from here, and it was a 1/2 inch over here. So the depth of this opening between the 2 legs, the hind quarter and the front quarter, is going to be that 1/2 inch. So that's your stop. You don't want to go any deeper than that 1/2 inch. So I'm going to come around the front here and do the same thing that I did on the back quarter. And I'm just coming in here like that. Then I'm going to clean that out. And I want to look down from the top. And I don't want to go in any deeper than this measurement right there. Straight on down. So. That's what we do right there. Okay. So we have this coming around. It's coming around here. Okay, now I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to mark this out in pencil so that you can see it. This is the hind quarter here, and this is it coming up around here, and it gets cut right in through here. And now we've undercut along that line all the way around. So now what I'm going to do is we got some squareness right in here. I want to try to round this whole hind quarter. So I'm going to use this bit again, and I'm going to start in here. We're going to do a 45-degree chamfer to knock that corner down which is like this corner as well. And what I'm going to do is roll this around, and I'm going to come right into my edge here, so it looks like it's going right down into that valley that we just created. And I'm going to round this over. And I'm going to come around here, and that edge that we have all the way around there with the pencil line, I'm going down to the pencil line on an angle, but I don't want to take anything off on the, I don't want to thin this out anymore, so I'm going to stay off of that. But I'm going to round this over. Round this over. So what I've done here now is from that hind quarter all the way around, all the way down to here, is starting to pop out, and it's starting to roll, and you get in the shape. Now I can see I'm still squared up. I didn't get enough roll back in here. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit more off. So I'm going to come in here, roll that around so that the high point is right in here. And you want a nice roll. And I'm looking over here, I still have an edge that I didn't get rid of, which is running right down through here. So while I have the bit here, I'm going to roll this up to the center here. So it's going to flow out of that line and roll up. And that's what I want to try to achieve. So this is going to come up right onto that center line. I'm going to clean this out. Just take some more out down here to get that rounded. And like I said, biggest thing you want to concern yourself with is that from the center line and between these two legs, you want to maintain a 1/2 inch looking down. So the 1/2 inch is going to fall right about there. So I'm getting close to it. But the 1/2 inch when you look down is your limits. So I'm going to take a little bit more off. Okay, and this thing's rolling around here. So let me just get a pencil in here so we don't get lost. You are maintaining that so you can see how that hind quarter gets developed. I still have some squareness back here. I'll round that a little bit more, but I don't want to get down into the feet yet. I'm going to stop about a little better, about 3/4 from the end here back, and stop right now. We'll do that with more detailed bits, and not this hogging bit. Okay, so now we have this hind quarter out. I'm going to do just one side of this, and then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. This whole thing is the exact same situation. You're going to duplicate the other side just like this one. Now, I'm going to come in here. Let me get some of this dust out. And I'm going to, now we have this all excavated out with the Fordham. And you could do everything with a Fordham. All you would need to do on a handpiece like this is to change the collet out. And that smaller bit I just used on the ram can also fit in the Fordham as well. So you could do everything with the Fordham if you need to. And this this front quarter is coming up. And what I'm going to do, I had you stop. If you look at this, it only stops right there. But I'm going to carry that up a little bit further now that we're starting to get this rounded over. I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide this up all the way up to about here. Okay, so I just move it up a little higher now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the front. We pretty much have this. Here's that taper in. Slight angle, then it flares out and it comes around, okay? And then we also have this in here. Now, like I said, I don't want to touch the head, but we're going to start getting some of the squareness out of here. So here we go again. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to undercut this along this line. Just about, maybe 1/8 of an inch down from the top. So you know what your limits are. And we're following this around. Okay? Now, what we want to do is we got a hard edge that we want to roll. Just like we do the hind quarter, we want to get a nice roll in there. This edge has to go. But again, you don't want to get into the feet here. Let me do this. Where the foot comes out and you have like an ankle right in here, and then it flares out. We're going to come in as if we're coming in from the side here and just reduce that just a little bit just to get some shape in there. So I've taken it out right up to the pencil line. So our pencil line is here, up to here. Now, we got this big edge here. I don't want to go in any further than about here, which is about 3/4 up. We're going to start rounding this over. So here we go. I'm going to take a 45-degree chamfer, and I'm going to round that over. Once I get that 45 in there, and then I'm going to try to undercut this a little bit more, coming up here. That's behind the line. Right on down. Blend this away. And I only want in about, again, I'm measuring from the center out a 1/2 inch, so I don't want to go too far in. I need at least that much material from where my thumb is to the center in here, a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to roll this. Get some of the squareness out. Come up into the neck, but we're stopping at that 1.25 inch line I asked you not to go past. So I'm rounding this over. Rounding this over. But I'm stopping shy of going to the very end. So if I put this down, again, just to show you where our line work went from here all the way up to here. Okay, and I'm just rounding this over so it gets the squareness out of there. So here we go. And this is just roughing out now. We're not doing anything detail-wise. It's just getting the squareness out of the piece. And we want to give it some shape. And that's basically what we're doing. And this is just what I call hogging, which is just getting excess wood out of the piece. We'll go a little deeper in here. There you go. Right on that corner so it gets rounded. And then on the bottom here, I want to roll that a little bit back into there. Like so. And then I'm going to blend this real lightly into the body here. We go up to the center line, so looks like everything's rolling up and around like we did for the rest of it back here. So right up to our center line, we're sort of rolling that up. Okay, so that we have a nice looking roll from this center line. Get my brush out here again. And I come down here. And I have a nice roll from here up to here. So this is rolling around here and here, okay? So we have a nice roll here. And we have this from here coming down. You know what? I cheated a little bit. This mark has been moving, so I'm going to cut this around a little bit more. Sometimes things move on you. So I'm going to undercut this because it should have a little more out on the bottom here. It's just me not watching what I'm doing here. So I'm going to undercut that a little bit more. Bring that in. Now, here's the edge. Here's the bottom that we're trying to maintain. And this, because I cut it in, has this corner here. So you want to nicely round that corner down to the pencil line. So that gets a nice round over right in that area. Okay, so that's starting to come out. This is just, again, in the preliminary stages of shaping. Now, what I'm going to do here is to expedite the time, I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side here that we've done on this side. Oh, one other thing, sorry. I just realized, remember I said I gave you limits for the head. So what I'm going to do is do a 45-degree chamfer here without banging the foot down here. I'm going to take some of this off, and then I'm going to roll this to the center line of the head and what would be like the middle of the neck here. So watch me on this. First I put the chamfer in, which is a 45-degree angle cut. And once I get that in, I'm trying not to bang into the foot. So I roll this towards the center of the head, and then I roll it to the center of the neck. And again, you're not going to get everything, but you start to get the squareness out of the neck area. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now we have that pencil line in here, and you're not going to accomplish it with this bit right now. So all we're trying to do is get close in there, but then we're rounding, okay? And once you do that, then you can also round this portion up here on the neck, but stopping short of going onto the head, and round that over. And everything starts coming in this shape somewhat, okay? We still have some squareness, but this is the general idea. We get this rounded over, and I do exactly the best job, but I will come back and I sort of stop there. We need to get a nice roll from here to here, then a nice roll from here, which would be like the middle of the neck, up to here. And this ain't too bad here. It's just that more material has to take off. Let me do a little bit more here, just to do it right. So I'm going to come back, clean that out, really squared up here. So I'm going to ask you to follow me on this to get that out. Like so. Won't be perfect, but it'll get us to where we need to be. Okay. Now, I did that much. Now, what I'm going to do to expedite things, I'm going to pause here. I will finish this side to match that side, and this is projected out a little bit more than this one at the time here, but it'll look the same pretty much. And I'll undercut again. We have this line of action to accomplish yet on here and here, and then finishing this hind quarter here and roll it just like I did on this side over here. And I have to undercut along this line yet. So let me do that, and then I'll get back to you and see if we can't do some more shaping on this. So at least get to this point where you can do this much here, and then I'll do this much on this side. And when we get done, before we'll start attacking the head, I will finish the other side. So I hope you get that much out of it. Again, it's all done with hogging bits, which are tungsten carbide bits. They're called Typhoon burrs. If you ever need any, I have them. And you can contact me, same way with patterns and what have you. I hope you got something out of this portion of the video. And what I'm going to do is each one is going to be a development further in. But I want to show you exactly how I do this. I will clean this up a little bit better. And when we get back, you'll be able to see how the body has got pretty much smoothed out. Again, with a hogging bit, where we're going to do finer work as we go and get this really smooth. We'll even sand it down and everything else once we get to a point that I'll show you how to bring the feet in. And but right now, we're just trying to get the body. There are spots on here that are still like square, so I need to get a nice roll on all of these, and you don't want to leave it so every time I run my thumb across a spot, I can feel like an edge right there. So I will come in real nice and easy with the hogging bit just to get that out. And one thing you want to keep is your reference for your center line, so that you can know how much you got to roll up to. And then when you're looking in profile, whatever the width of the tail is, you go down about the middle of it, eyeball it, and you roll it up to there, and you roll it up to there. And as long as it's got edges, you just want to slightly roll it over, okay, to get the excess out. You can even see it in here. I don't know if you can, but I can. It's the way the light hits it sometime. There's some flats right in here, so I'll come in and gently roll that over and see if I can't get that nice and smooth. When we get back with the next video, I will show you how this whole thing, it looks complete, and then we'll proceed on with the head. So I hope you enjoy the video. I would hope you would give me a thumbs up, and if you really like what I'm doing, please subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. And I appreciate everything, and if you need to contact me, catch me on my email, and we'll see if we can't help you out on anything. So thanks again, and again, wear a dust mask. You can see the mess I made here. I do have a dust collector. I haven't turned it on because I wanted to talk to you about it, and I hope you can hear me okay too. So hope everything is coming across to you, and we'll see if we can't do it on the next video, the rest of it. Thank you. Bye now.